Welcome to Chapter 13, Access Control Assurance. Information assurance is a way of assessing the usefulness and effectiveness of information security systems. In this chapter, we'll explore the major concepts behind information assurance and how those concepts can be applied to access control, resulting in more secure IT structure. Topics covered: major components of information assurance, how information assurance can be applied to access control systems, the goal of access control system monitoring and reporting, what checks and balances can be implemented to help ensure integrity, confidentiality, and availability of the control systems, how to manage and parse audit trails and audit logs, reporting issues and concerns surrounding audit trails and audit logs, how security information event managers work with access control systems, how to apply best practices is what we're going to be looking at in this chapter. So let's start with what is information assurance. Information assurance, or AI, is the practice of managing IT risks related to the storage, transportation, creation, hiding, handling of information. The concept of IA originated in the U.S. government, specifically the military and intelligence infrastructure. Information assurance and information security share common goals in confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Unlike information security, information assurance is also concerned with some bigger picture items, including privacy, compliance, governance, and strategic risk management. Information assurance is all about risk assessment and mitigation. We can never make anything 100% secure. We could, but at a cost of what? It's not worth our data. So we have to have that balance. In the past, we're going to look at confidentiality. We're going to look at the CIA triad, which is one way we can kind of help identify our risks. Instead of just saying we're going to do this, we want to make sure the CIA triad is one of the oldest models that I've used. It balances confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We can have the greatest, we can lock up all the data we want, but if it's not available, what good is it to our employees? Or if we don't keep it confidential, then again, it's useless. Or how do we know that the integrity is good? If we're not sure of that, then again, it becomes useless data. So understanding, we build this little triangle, and we have to balance all of these things as we look at it. So what is confidentiality? The property of information is not disclosed to the systems. In other words, information must be viewed, used, and copied only by the individuals that require it. So not everyone has access to it, and that's what we want to keep in mind. Integrity is about the data. If the data is not secure, if we question the data, well, then that becomes useless data to us. And then again, availability. If the people can't use it when they need it, what good is it? So we have to make sure we balance that. Then we have the 5 pillars, which is very similar to the CIA. It has those 3 tendencies, but 2 others are added to make sure it's a little bit and that is the authentication and non-repudiation of the 2-factor that we add to it. Then we have the McCumber Cube, which are goals, information, and steps. And again, it's the transmission, storage, processing, technical data, availability, the human factor. So this information allows us to have everything that we want. So let's look at the authentication in that 5 pillars. We have to make sure that we have verifying the identity of the person. So it's not just saying, yep, someone logged in, they can have access. Are they who they say they are? A non-repudiation is assurance that the sender and the information provided with proof of delivery and receipt that we have this. So a good example of non-repudiation, we can see in a bank wire transfer, when the wire transfer is sent, the sender verifies its credentials with the federal bank, its third party, and then the Federal Reserve will move the money. So another thing we're going to look at, another possible, is the Parkin hexad. And again, if you look at it, we have availability, authentication, We've added integrity, confidentiality, and we've added possession or control and utility. So again, if you notice, it just keeps building on it, but it all starts with the basic triad. Possession and control relates to confidentiality, is the concept that the control of the information can be breached without confidentiality breach. For example, suppose a flash drive containing a mass copy of sensitive data is lost. The possession of those files data is breached, but until they are accessed, they are still confidential. Authentication, then it said, appropriateness of labeling information. We have the utility. Utility describes the usefulness of the data. Information that is stored in obsolete format that no longer can be read would be breached. Encryption of this. So as you see, it all stems off the triad, but we can continue to add different layers of what we want to do. So how can information assurance be applied? As we've seen in the descriptions, access control is essential to IA. IA should be applied to the organizations as we look for it. Information assurance models are the guidelines to use when they're building this information. When designing any access control, you first determine that. Enforce confidentiality. One of the primary functions of any access control system is to allow or deny access to resources of data. However, denying access to unauthorized users is good, but we have to maintain that without the authorization that we have it, but the users who need it should have access. Access control enforce integrity. Access control prevents the loss of data integrity by preventing unauthorized users from modifying data objects either accidentally or intentionally. Enforce availability. By enforcing confidentiality and integrity, access control ensures availability. So this is what we want. If we control the other two, we have it available. And the last one, simply implement technology controls is not sufficient to ensure information assurance. Manager, staff, systems administrators and stuff, we need to make sure we have that. What are the goals of controlling and reporting? Monitoring and reporting. Well, having access to control systems is not enough. To secure sensitive information and resources, those access control systems must be continuously monitored to ensure they are working properly and no unauthorized users has been granted access. So, accuracy. To be useful, a monitoring system must have a high level of accuracy. Authorized users must be granted reliability and unauthorized users must be denied. Unfortunately, no system is 100% accurate. We can have false positives and false negatives. Variety. A monitoring system must be able to detect many types of information. Timeliness. A system must be reported suspicious immediately. Ease of use. It should be nice and easy to use. We should have intrusion detection, hardware and software solutions that monitor network traffic, looking for signs of security breaches. Anomaly detection. Anomaly detection operates on a two core principle: what is known good and what is unusually is bad. Therefore, any activity that is unknown must be reported as suspicious. Early anomaly detections were based on statistical protocols. So it's pretty simple. If this person has been working for the company for 5 years, and they're always logging in between 9 in the morning and 6 at night, and then all of a sudden they log in at 2 in the morning. That's something that's not normal, and by using this type of system, we can detect that. What checks and balances can be implemented? Many access control breaches originate internally. To guard against this risk risk of external data attack, systems and checks and balances. Track and monitor events, types, audit logs. Each type of audit log records a specific event on the system, tracking the events recording. In this system level event, the focus on users login attempts. If you get that, if you don't put it in the right number of times, you get locked out. Application level events, given the application including errors, and user level events. These are different areas that we need to examine. track and monitor user type logs. User audit logs store information on the authentication attempt, resources used, commands and applications run, and securities violations committed by users. Most importantly, this type of log provides accountability because of the ties. Unauthorized access attempt logs. Unauthorized access attempts are usually key signal that attack may be in progress. A single failed access attempt, likely just typing error or part, but if 10 failed access attempts, signals an attempt password picture should come up and be detected. Audit trails, audit log management and parsing. Log file management, a system of storing and rotating log files. The data recorded and stored in a log file may be necessary legal evidence when the time comes. We're going to make sure we have that. Log parsing. Parsing is the process of translating the reformatted RAW files into useful reports. In the middle of the attack, systems administrators do not have time to go through raw files. Audit trail is a series of events gleaning from parsing log files over a period of time. Audit trail and reporting issues. Time, digging through, once we have the audit log, we have to get through them. Well, time, digging through the trails, looking for signs of malicious activities may be tedious and time-consuming. Automating the process makes it much faster. Normalization is a process of translating log files from various systems into common formats. Prioritization is the process of determining which log files are going to be looked at. Security information event is a software solution that attempts to solve several of these issues discussed in the previous section. It is designated to centralized storage and normalizing log files from the wide variety of applications and devices. Best practices for ongoingness. Whether access control systems assurance is done for regulatory compliance or simply because it's a good business practice. Follow a defined model. The CIA triad, the 5 pillars, of IA, Parkin and Hexad are well-known and tested models. There's no need to start from scratch, which there's so many out there. Use of access controls to enforce IA. Regardless of which model you use, your organization should choose and develop access control systems that will enforce the key tenets of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Implement an IDS, an intrusion detection system, is a key tool for recognizing and stopping attack in progress. Make audit trails analysis a priority. Log files and audit trails that are rarely analyzed are the digital equivalent of a paperweight. They are limited use, take up a lot of space, and without looking at them, why even collect the data? Implement an ongoing training system. This ensures that all your personnel, not just security engineers, are aware of information assurance concepts and know how to recognize potential importance in their attacks. Chapter summary. Information assurance is the guideline for planning, implementing, and assessing a security IT infrastructure. This chapter examines several models, including the CIA triad, 5 pillars, and Parkinson Hexad. An organization should choose one of the most accurate reflects the IA requirement. Ideally, every component of infrastructure should be evaluated for its contribution to information assurance on critical resources. Staff members, both technical and non-technical, should participate in regular training on information assurance concepts so they are aware that the security implications and their decisions are not able to recognize important anomalies when they occur. When security incidents do occur, carefully analyze and cross-reference various audit logs provides key information about the incident. This information is a valuable resource for preventing similar breaches in the future. So as we looked at There are standards out there that we should be using, and we just need to pick which one closely meets our company goals, visions, and security policies. This allows us to have the best thing that we can to prevent that. Thank you.